Have you ever been through a period in your life where you didn't know what was next? You just met your goal of finishing high school, college, or quitting a job with nothing really lined up to jump into? That empty feeling that's inside you, anxiety welling up knowing that there is something out there for you, but instead you're sitting around waiting for something to whisk you away. Oftentimes when I've gone through this in my life, I have filled those down moments with anime. It was something to kill the time and give me a chance to distract myself from not being able to do something fulfilling. When you were a kid, these summer days could pass by so quickly, not a care in the world, knowing that you have adults to shoulder the responsibility. But now that you are that adult, there's a certain pressure placed on you. Be it going to college or taking a gap year to travel and discover a world larger than the one that you grew up in, or even finding your first job out of college that gives you some definition in your life and rewards all of the hard work you put into yourself. There's surely got to be something that you could be doing that isn't standing around, spending time waiting on other people. When I have been in this rut, there have been a few shows that came to lift me out of it. Each story about achieving goals, finding success in a new way, and adapting to the challenges life throws at you in order to make a positive change in your life instead of taking the blows. I had to roll with these blows in high school, where I grew up with a single mother doing her best to make ends meet. I had to start working as soon as I could to find a job, and that really limited what I could do with my free time, literally and financially. I wasn't working with a specific goal in mind other than to pay off the old car that got me to my minimum wage job, until it died just months after I paid it off. I did end up meeting my goal, but I was soon back to square one all over again. When I first watched A Place Further Than the Universe, I thought back to my situation in high school. Watching a group of high school girls use their combined means to travel to Antarctica, where one of the group members' mothers disappeared, brought me back to the days I was working for something that I already knew the answer to. Joining these girls as they fight life's obstacles on their way to the South Pole is an emotionally packed journey that will help you remember that setting a goal is the first step. Everything that comes between the start and the finish is what will define the journey and shape who you are. I eventually got another car that didn't die on me, and I was able to sell it to get a better car once it was in my means many years later. And I only got there because I did not give up even when I wanted to. But what if on the way to that end goal you realize it was something you couldn't do anymore? The story of Aquatope on the White Sand answers these questions for one way it can be handled. It's a story about failure, change, and keeping your head above water. In a unique anime setting of Okinawa, we can watch our failed idol protagonists try to start anew. With no plan, no familiarity of the area, and not even a place to stay, this is a drastic way to start your next journey, but also an inspiring push for those who work well by immersing themselves in their tasks. In my post-college rut, this is the way I took on fighting the voice in the back of my head telling me I was wasting my days. I did not specifically start working at an aquarium, but had I ended up in this story's scenario, I would have had so much fun. Watching Aquatope reminded me of just how much work is required to see the change that you want in your life, and just by surrounding yourself with the people who want to see it through can provide the security blanket to fall back on when you mentally might trip up. Like I said before, this is a story about failure and rising above it. We're all going to fail in life, even when you found your calling. Learning the tough lessons in life is a surefire way to not repeat them, and it builds your character with experience that you can only get by going through it. For this trial by fire method, the anime that best spoke to me individually was Sakura Quest. This anime is about a recent college graduate who is sent to a rural town and needs to help revitalize it by working on the board of tourism. These are the scary first steps out on your own in an unfamiliar place with a lot of pressure on your shoulders. Just like starting my career after college, I was really struggling not to let those around me down. For the first time, being available to fix problems, finding and implementing solutions, and managing projects where everyone turned on me, I had a lot weighing on me. Not to mention myself, where I hold myself to high standards, and still, to this day, I have a tough time coping with being the weak link. Eventually though, I found that spot that I could make my own and leave a mark from my personal touches. Being in a close-knit community where everyone knows all of the nuances and expects you to know them too can take a toll. But having friends you can talk to and work with will help alleviate the burden and make the celebration at the end feel much more fun once you accomplish these goals. The way of the world these days is constantly being in motion, moving from one place to the next, and these downtimes in between are a given. Knowing that you have something coming next is a better mindset to have, and these slow days in between all of the action are a blessing in disguise. If you can take one thing away from this video and these shows that I've talked about, it's that I want you to know that there is a place out there for you, so don't get discouraged when things aren't going your way now. Eventually, what you are looking for will find you. You just have to keep searching for it.